Hello, good afternoon. It's a big pleasure for me to participate in this conference on this very important and challenging part of today's society. Finding good solutions to combat the refugee crisis is crucial both for the human beings involved and they are driven from their homes, but also crucial for the welfare state and for the economy, finding sustainable solutions to the questions on how to integrate refugees into the labor market. My name is, as I was introduced, Haakon Hertzberg. I'm head of politics in NAV, the Norwegian PES. We are also responsible for the benefits system and the pension system in Norway. The session this morning shows that we share both challenges and solutions. And you will probably hear some repetition, but now from a Norwegian point of view. So, firstly, some comments on the current refugee situation in Norway. In 2015, it arrived 31,145 refugees in Norway, and a high number was unaccompanied minors. And the estimate number of arrival in 2016 is about 35,000. But as we have heard, that is a very uncertain estimated number. The integration process for refugees in Norway is shown as on the chart. The asylum seeker arrive, they are sent to reception centers. While staying in the reception centers, their application for asylum are being processed. They grant asylum for the refugees the granted asylum, the refugees are settled in the municipalities. Those who are settled are former asylum seekers who have been granted a residence permit, or resettlement refugees who have been granted a residence permit in Norway pursuant to an agreement with the UN High Commissioner for Refugees. Once settled, they have the right to the introduction program. And I'm going to talk to you about the introduction program and the content of it. The purpose of it's based on the Introduction Act amended in 2005. The purpose of that act is to increase the possibility of newly arrived immigrants participating in working and social life and to increase their financial independence. The municipality is responsible for the introductional program. They shall provide the program for newly arrived immigrants and asylum seekers and when they are settled in the municipality. The municipality receives an integration grant if they settle refugees and persons who have been granted a residence permit on humanitarian grounds. In addition, the municipalities receive a grant for those who are given a residence permit as a part of a family reunification with these groups. The integration grant is to cover the municipality's average additional expenses related to settling and integrating these persons during the settlement years and the next 4 years. Those who take part in the program also receive an introductional benefit that is equivalent with twice the basic amount of the national insurance scheme in Norway, or approximately 25,000 euros per year. So to the introduction program. The main components of the introduction program is Norwegian language tuition, social studies on immigrants' native language when feasible, measures to attain skills for labor market entry, and measures to continue education. PES or NAV is an important partner in this introductional program, but we have no responsibility for it, and we are not granted money for this work. So the municipalities have to make a partnership with the PES in this regard. In cooperation with NAV, the municipality may investigate whether existing measures can be used or adapted into the introductional program. Assess the need for assistance in the final stage into the introductional program, and ensuring transition into regular employment and other qualification measures. So more practically, they also assist the municipality working with employers, having the best skills on how to work with employers. Then you could say this is a good framework for integrating refugees, but there has been Norwegian challenges in other countries also. And the biggest challenge for us, as Mikael Sjöberg also pointed out this morning, is that the Norwegian, also our model of welfare is dependent on high participation in the labor market. We have an aging population, and that means that the proportion of the working population decreases. And the mobilization of available manpower is therefore needed to ensure the continued economic growth, and is crucial to preserve the welfare state. We also see, as a lot of other European countries, that many young people are struggling to enter the labor market, and the demand for unskilled labor will continue to go down. So this makes that it's very important to think the long thoughts in how to integrate the refugees and how to use them as their labor force. Or else we risk that more and more people experience difficulty in obtaining the foothold in the labor market. And we see that the refugees in Norway has a substantially lower employment rate than the average population. And that is why it's so important to get the refugees into any other work, not just into any other work, but also get them qualified so they can take part in the gap needed for the labor force, such as in the health sector in Norway. More on the Norwegian challenges. We have had the introductional program since 2005 and have gathered a lot of experience, and there have been done quite a lot of research on the introductional program. And we dare say that the introductional program has, the way we have worked with integration of refugees, we could sum it up to too much, too late. We have had a time-consuming, quite extensive mapping of the ones coming. It takes a lot of time, and it often leads to the evaluation of skills and competences. Instead of getting people fast out into labor market, we use a lot of time thinking, how can we use this diploma? How can we use your competence? We have to have a plan. We have to do a lot of red taping instead of getting people out into the workplace. So the other observation is we have had a red tape or bureaucracy approach instead of more tailor-made approach, bearing in mind the vast difference of the group of refugees. We also have had an extensive language training, and that might have been so extensive that we have had no effect. Some research show that. We have a research saying that over 600 hours of language training doesn't give any effect in getting people into labor market. And the last point I want to stress is that we have done too much training and then placing the refugees instead of place train. We have to use the labor market. The result of these challenges is that refugees are pacified, they lose motivation, and does not enter the labor market. So, with these challenges as a background, when the number of asylum seekers rose last year, the government saw the need for a new approach. And then I have to say that firstly, we have a very left-wing government, quite not very refugee-friendly, I would say. So the first thing they did this autumn was passing a significant tightening bill on immigration. And the tightening bill resulted in reducing benefits for people living in reception center by 20%, and benefits for families in the same centers reduced by 10%. They have changed the period of residence to become eligible for permanent residence from 3 to 5 years. They have issued temporary residence permit and facilitate return if the situation in the country of the habitual residence changes. They have started to use integrational criteria for the granting of applications for permanent residence. And they have limited family reunion and family establishment rights for refugees. So quite a harsh way of meeting the immigrants they did. But they also now in 2016 issued a white paper on integration and a white paper on PES or NAV, the big organization that I'm working in. And in that white paper on PES, they also suggested that more involvement, a new approach on work integration of refugees and the PES, how the PES would best be used in that sense. So a bit about the new approach, the white paper on integration. They launch a new integration, new pilot project. It's going to be set out in 5 different municipalities, and that is before settlement as an asylum seeker. And we are going to build integration reception centers. In these centers, they are firstly reserved for people with good working potential. Quite a different, that is very easy for the government to say, and the people working with this have some trouble finding out how we can find who these people are. But that's not the government's problem. And then self-registration of competence and skills. They also say that they want to have a strong career guidance in these centers, 50 hours of language and cultural skills needed for the labor market, vocational training in cooperation with local employers, and they also make all labor market measures available for people inside these reception centers. So this will be a very interesting pilot project, and we are looking forward to seeing how this project goes. And it's it's an answer to the early intervention that we have heard about earlier today. The next new approach in the white paper on integration is something after settlement, and that is a fast track within the established introductional program. It's made up by mobilization of the social partners and the employees. They have had a working group with the social partners, the government and the social partners, and they have said that if the social partners and the employees can bring 1,000 new places or places to work, the government will dedicate 1,000 places of labor market measures for this group. And the aim for this approach is also, or this fast track is also finding, or the group that are going to be used we are trying to put into this fast track is the ones who can go into regular employment easily. So the same as the people in the introductional centers, integration reception centers. And the last new approach, and we welcome that is that PES has to have a bigger role. PES has to come in earlier and collaborate with all actors in the integration process. Easy to say, but it's a big work trying to find out how to collaborate. Labor market has to be the main area for training and inclusion of refugees into society. And it calls for labor market competence and experience in working with employees. And that is also a quite big issue, how to get the PES, how the PES can collaborate with educational, the municipalities, and seeing this as a whole. So that was what I had prepared for you. Thank you for your kind attention.